Hello, I'm Pastor Heath Wilson at Toms Creek United Methodist Church, and I have done previous videos showing how to make bread dough. Easy to make bread dough. And as I put that out there and I talked about using it to make sticky buns, everybody has asked for this sticky bun recipe. Well, it starts with the bread that I made in here. This is a double batch, single batch. I'm just going to give you a quick review. There's other videos on how to make it, but it would be 3 cups of lukewarm water, throw in a tablespoon of yeast, and then it's another 6.5 cups of flour, a tablespoon of salt, and you mix it all together and you put it in the fridge for 3 days and it comes out looking like this. So that's your quick recap on the dough, but any bread dough will work for making sticky buns. And so I'm going to take a little bit of this. Now the important part is you are going to need a lot of flour because this dough likes to stick. Sticky buns, sticky dough. So we want to take a pretty hefty amount of this dough out of here, but not so much that it's not going to be manageable. Okay? Place that over there for a minute. And I'm going to get this all floured up because it will stick and cause problems if you don't have lots of flour on it. And don't worry about the flour. The butter and the maple syrup we are going to use is going to soak up all that yummy goodness. So, here we go as we got that. Now, over here, you'll notice I've got some pans. These are 7-inch pans because 7-inch pans allows me to give to more people after I'm done baking. So, you could use 9-inch. We use butter. Real butter. Butter, butter, butter. You can use margarine. It just doesn't taste as good. And the measuring. There are 4 sticks in here. You will see 8 of these containers, and I'm going to pour butter in here. And you want to generously cover the bottom of each one of these. Back. And actually, I'm going to remove one of these because I just don't think there's enough butter in each one. It really does need a generous amount of that butter, and so we're going to move that around. And the other thing that goes in the bottom of this is maple syrup. Now, of course, I use Bennett Farm maple. That's because my in-laws, my wife's parents, own the maple farm, and they run it. My son Jeffrey has gone up and helped them to make it. And it's really good. If you want the information, I can give it to you, and they do ship around the country, but you can get maple syrup anywhere. But it really adds to this. There are other ways you can use it using fake sugars, but I find the maple syrup is the best. Once again, very generous. About the same amount as the butter. And we're just pouring in. You're going to see it comes up pretty high on these pans. And that's okay. There we go. And this is all by looking at it. You don't have to worry, there's no exact proportions. And I'm just going to spread it out, make sure that there's not clumps of syrup and clumps of butter. There we go, all mixed up, all ready to go. So now that we have that done, we're going to get ready to put the sticky buns into these containers. Rolling pin is ready. Add a little bit on there. And you can see I've put it in a long way instead of having a circular clump. We want to end up having this be long. So the first thing I'm going to do is to get it to stretch out long ways, trying to make it even as possible. And then I'm going to flip it. And before I do, once again, just so it doesn't stick anywhere, I'm going to have a good amount of flour. Okay. Flipping it over. There we go. Roll it out a little bit more. And now, I'm going to go this way. You got to get a feel of this. The dough has a mind of its own. It's going to come back on you. But that's all right, because when it does, when it contracts back, that means it's not sticking. And you don't want this to stick. Very important rule. Want to get an even consistency all the way across. And I'm not going to worry. You see, the shape is weird, and it'll be all right. It's going to be okay. Can't get worried about all those small things. Cinnamon. Well, look at this. I have a brand new cinnamon that I got. I do get the Saigon cinnamon that I enjoy. I think it has a good flavor, but any cinnamon will work. And you are going to be surprised by how much cinnamon goes on here. We want to lightly coat the whole thing. There we go. Got it all covered. Don't miss the corners, because those corner ones somebody's going to eat and they want the cinnamon too. I'm a big proponent of making sure you go all the way to the edges. So now we're going to add the brown sugar. And at first we're just going to kind of evenly distribute it across. Don't forget those edges. Remember that. Now on this one, you don't want to go to these edges, but the edge to the corner here on your left and your right, the far ends, you want to make sure it's there. And so now we're going to spread it out. Not going all the way to the corners, leaving a little bit of room so that we're going to be able to roll. And as you're going along, you might see that there are spots where you don't have enough sugar. It's all right. Reach over, grab some more, sprinkle it down. Don't want it to be too thick because it will be too hard to roll. And quite honestly, you want a good amount of dough to soak up all that other sugar and butter you have in there. This is just the augment that we're adding. So it doesn't have to be super thick. There we go. Now, I'm going to get to some other parts. Now is when we start to roll it. Roll it in, roll it in. And I'm doing it evenly, but see how we had a dip there, so now I'm going to move and catch everything back up. Make it kind of tight as you're rolling along. Good news, it didn't stick. Go, rolling it, rolling it. I got the edge on the bottom. Try to seal it up just a little bit. I'm moving it around so that the edge that we have is kind of on the bottom to seal it up. And I just realized I don't have a knife. I'm going to be right back. Back with the knife. Now, a kind of sharp knife is important for this. So we're going to take them, about this tall, about maybe an inch and a half. We don't want it to go over the top of the pan. You can see here, it's down there a little bit. That's good, because it is going to rise up. Once again, about that much. Trying to be even and consistent. We're going to put them in there pretty close to each other. Try to stay consistent for baking purposes with the size. So this one, we've got a spot right here. You can see, if you look kind of closely, I've got them kind of layered out. And there's a little spot there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this little end down here, and I'm going to fill that hole with it. So they're not super stuck in there, but there's not a lot of room either. It's finding that happy medium. So in the 7-inch one, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and that little 8th one that we added. And so we're going to keep on doing that and just keep on filling the pans. Got that one ready. I kind of save different size ones for pieces that are needed later on. And sometimes what I like to do is, I know I'm going to use all these pans. I don't want all the good ones, you know, the perfect center ones, the real big ones, to go to the same pan. So sometimes we'll mix it up. I'll start moving around. Since I know I've already dirtied these pans, I'm going to have to probably make some more dough to fill this up. I'm putting those nice ones in the middle. That one was a little sticky. That's the other thing, is you do want to hurry relatively quickly with the cold dough, because it will start to get a little sticky on your fingers. And if that happens, it's all right. The magic of the yeast and of rising is nobody knows that they stuck to your finger and they look a little ugly right now, because when they come out, they are gorgeous no matter what. So don't worry about that. Spend more time on just making sure you're concentrating on this and pouring love into it. And I've got 2 spots in here for smaller ones, so now I'm going to mix it up. This time there's going to be a small one in the middle. I'm going to put that over there. And this one only has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Because I used a couple of bigger ones in there. This one only has 7 in it. I'm just going to fill up this one pan. This one might only have 6 in it. We're up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What I think I'm going to do is I'm going to put 2 smaller ones in there, or try to. There we go. Fill that pan up. And so you can see that the juice is coming up almost to the top. And there's a little bit. You don't want them floating so much that there's more juice than there is of them, but I've got it pretty close to the top there, you can see. And on each one, and if you get to one where you see it's a little too little, get a little extra butter, a little maple syrup, add a little fluid in there. If you see ones that are floating, you've done it too high, you were too excited about the maple syrup and butter, we'll just pour it off into another pan. So what we're going to do is we're going to give these about an hour to rise. If it's really cold in the room yard, it may take an extra half an hour. It may take an hour and a half. Okay, we have let them rise a little bit. You can see they're filling it up a little bit more. They're getting a little higher. And they're filling up real nice. It took a little over an hour for this to happen, and now I'm going to put them into the oven at 350 degrees for about a half an hour. But you'll know they get brown on top. They won't jiggle around as much, meaning the buns, you can tell that they have set up and firmed up. And so that's always a good thing. I like, if I'm using this type of pan, to put it on a sheet pan in case it does dribble over. It can happen that sometimes there's so much yumminess and love in there, it just overflows. You can use a square pan or a rectangle pan. I use the round ones because I think it works well, especially for giving away. But normally when they were served from the person, Mimi, who taught the recipe to my wife and to me and the whole family uses, often it was in a rectangle pan. So you can use whatever pans you want. So we're going to head it into the oven, 350 degrees, for about a half an hour. Okay, friends, it's come out of the oven. You can see I've got the pan here, and they rose up, and they're just really hot, but really, really yummy. I mean, I wish I had the smell that you could smell these, but here they are, finished product. See how all of it just comes together. It did overflow, even as low as it was. It overflowed onto the pan that we had to catch it all. But there we go. Now, I did this video partially because it's Giving Tuesday. Hashtag Giving Tuesday. And so I figured people had asked for this recipe and see how it was done, and so I showed you as my giving to you, and I would love for you to support the ministries at Tom's Creek Church. You don't have to, but if you'd like to, you can go to our website. There's a donate button in the corner, and that would be great to help support our church and our ministries, and as we continue to reach out into the world. And no matter where you are, we want to journey with you. And so may you feel the light of Christ in your homes and in your lives this very day. Thank you. I hope you enjoy and hope you share this with many friends and family. Take care. God bless.